Let me ask you something personal. Think about the smartest person you know. Maybe it's you, someone who reads, thinks deeply, analyzes everything, plans ahead, and genuinely tries to make good decisions. Now tell me honestly, are they the happiest person in the room? Because in almost every case, the answer is no. And that's not a coincidence. That's psychology. There is a brutal, uncomfortable truth hiding inside high intelligence, and today we're going to pull it out into the light, not to depress you, but because understanding this might be the most freeing thing you hear all year. If you've ever felt like your own mind works against you, like you overthink yourself into misery, like everyone around you seems just fine while you're quietly drowning in your own thoughts, this is for you. Smart people don't struggle with happiness because they're broken. They struggle because their brains are doing exactly what they were built to do, and happiness was never part of the design brief. Here's what most people never consider. The human brain didn't evolve to make you happy. It evolved to keep you alive. And the smarter your brain is, the better it is at one very specific job: detecting problems. A high-functioning mind is essentially a very powerful threat scanner. It sees risk before risk arrives. It simulates failure before failure happens. It questions, doubts, reevaluates, and second-guesses, not out of weakness, but out of raw, efficient survival intelligence. The problem is, you're not living in the wild anymore. You're living in the modern world, where there are no predators in the grass, but your brain hasn't gotten that memo. So instead of scanning for lions, it scans for social rejection, professional failure, existential uncertainty, and worst-case scenarios that haven't even happened yet. The clinical term for this is called negativity bias on overdrive, and in people with above-average intelligence, it runs deeper and faster than in those who simply don't think as hard. Research out of Lakehead University found that higher verbal intelligence was directly associated with increased rumination, which is the psychological term for repetitive, looping negative thought. In plain English, the smarter you are, the more likely you are to replay your mistakes, predict your failures, and catastrophize your future. And here's what makes it worse. You're good enough at thinking to actually build convincing arguments for why things will go wrong. But there's another layer to this, and it's one that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. Smart people suffer from something called the curse of awareness. You see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. You notice hypocrisy, you see through shallow social performances, you understand the systemic problems in the world, you're aware of your own mortality in a way that most people instinctively suppress. That level of awareness is intellectually powerful. But emotionally, it comes at a cost. Psychologist Kazimierz Dąbrowski called this overexcitability, a heightened sensitivity to the world that makes intelligent people experience both joy and pain with a sharpness that others simply don't feel at the same intensity. You don't just feel sad. You feel the weight of why things are sad and what caused it and what it means and what it says about the world. Then there's the comparison trap, and intelligent people fall into it harder than anyone. Because when you're smart, you believe you should be able to figure out the formula for a good life. You look at success, you look at other people's achievements, you measure yourself constantly. But happiness doesn't follow a formula. It's not a logic problem. It doesn't reward the most analytical thinker in the room. And every time a smart person tries to reason their way into contentment, they often end up more frustrated, because the more you think about whether you're happy, the less present you are in the actual moments that would make you happy. That's the paradox. Happiness lives in the present. Overthinking pulls you into the past or the future. And the smarter you are, the harder it is to just be here. There's also the expectation gap. High intelligence often comes with high standards. For yourself, for others, for life itself. And when reality inevitably falls short of the ideal you've constructed in your mind, the disappointment hits differently. Research consistently shows that people who hold higher expectations, particularly those who are more intellectually driven, report lower baseline life satisfaction, not because their lives are objectively worse, but because the gap between what they imagined and what they experience feels so much wider. So what's the solution? Is there one? Yes, but it doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from understanding that your intelligence is a tool, not a personality. You are not your thoughts. You are the person observing them. And the most emotionally intelligent thing a smart person can learn is that not every thought deserves a response, not every problem needs to be solved today, and not every feeling needs to be intellectually justified before you're allowed to. Feel it. The research is clear. Happiness is far more correlated with social connection, physical movement, present moment engagement, and acts of contribution than it is with intelligence, achievement, or analysis. Meaning doesn't come from figuring life out, it comes from showing up inside it. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust and became one of the most important psychologists of the 20th century, said it best: "We don't get to choose our suffering, but we choose how we respond to it." And that choice, that deliberate act of meaning-making, is something intelligence can actually help with, if you point it in the right direction. If you're a smart person who struggles with happiness, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not too broken to be happy. You are too aware to be distracted from the things that hurt. And that awareness, as painful as it is also what makes you capable of the deepest kind of growth, empathy, and genuine connection that most people never access. The goal isn't to think less. The goal is to live more. Your mind is not your enemy. It's just been doing a job that was never meant to bring you peace. And now that you understand that, you can finally start giving it better work to do.